All right, so let's start with number 5, I think is where we're at. 5, this is unemployment. Yo. Yes. Yep. Okay, so we're talking about unemployment, okay? First thing we want to know about unemployment is who is unemployed, okay? Who is unemployed? Now, just like we said a minute ago, by the government standard, you are unemployed. Let's see, it's all individuals. All individuals 16 or older. Nope, because they're not 16. All individuals 16 and older that do not have a job and are looking for a job. That do not have a job and are looking. Great question. I don't know that for sure. But people that collect unemployment. So if you're unemployed, you just don't have a job and you want a job. To collect unemployment, you had to have a job previously, because when you work, you're paying money into different government programs, let's say, okay? And then if you lose that job and you meet the qualifications to collect unemployment, then you're eligible to collect unemployment. So I would say if you were 16 and you had a job and you were making money and they laid you off for some reason, and you're then fit into that requirement or that classification to collect unemployment, then you should be able to collect it. But that's a good question. I don't know if you have to be 18, if you have to be out of the house and on your own. I'm not certain what all those things are. But I know that you can't just quit your job, right? You have to be laid off in order to collect unemployment. So not everyone that doesn't have a job fits into that category. Yeah, Taylor Suzanne. Right. Right. Yeah. I don't think so. No. You're unemployed, but you couldn't collect unemployment. Right. Yeah. It doesn't seem like that would be that you'd be able to do that in that scenario, but I could be wrong. Right, right. I don't know that for sure. Okay? But I just because you were going to quit, it just doesn't seem like you should be able to if you were going to quit even though they laid you off. Right. Right, but technically then you quit. And they just said they didn't need you any longer. Right. Well, and that happens. I don't know. All right. Here we go. We got to keep moving on. Calculating unemployment. There are 3 different formulas that we have to know when it comes to calculating unemployment. The first is how to calculate the unemployment rate. So I'm going to abbreviate here. UE percent, that's the unemployment rate, okay? And how we calculate that is we take the number of unemployed workers, that's how many people that are out there that don't have jobs, that want jobs, divided by the labor force times 100. And that is the formula that we use to calculate the unemployment rate. It's how many workers are out there that don't have jobs that want jobs, okay? Divided by the labor force times 100. Now, hopefully some of you are like, well, what in the world is the labor force? Great question. The labor force is the number of people that are unemployed and employed added together. So we'll put number of unemployed plus number of employed. So it's how many people in the economy don't have jobs that want them, plus the number of people in the economy that do have jobs. That makes up our labor force. And then the last statistic is what we call the labor force participation rate. The labor force participation rate, okay? And that equals the labor force divided by the population 16 and older times 100 to make it a percent. So that last statistic tells us, okay, we have this many people in our population that could work. We want to know what percentage of them are actually either have a job or are looking for a job. And that gives us that labor force participation rate. Okay? And in the United States, that rate is typically about 2/3 of our population. So about 67% of our population either has a job or is looking for a job, which means then that 1/3 of our population doesn't have a job and doesn't want a job. And that's okay, but those people would be people that are full-time students, people that are retired, or sure, they could be stay-at-home parents usually would be the next probably most common group of people that don't fit in the labor force. Okay, and that makes up about 1/3 of our population. Okay. Now, one thing I meant to mention at the beginning. So we've got this, these people that are unemployed. It's a group of people that don't have jobs, but they want jobs and they're looking for jobs. What happens to the individual that has a job, but it's not the job that they want, and so they're going to start looking for a new job? Are they unemployed? Right. As long as it's still their old job. You just want to change jobs, you are not unemployed. Now, if you quit that job to go and look for a new job, then you're going to be unemployed during that time that you're looking. Okay? No, that's to collect. And we don't really care about collecting unemployment here. That's not a big deal, but that's just not what we're trying to figure out. We're trying to figure out just how many people are unemployed and what that percentage is. Okay? Yeah, Jose.